Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I thank the member for Dawson for bringing this very important issue to the House, and it is with pleasure that I rise to voice my support for the National Disability Insurance Scheme, a scheme which has, contrary to those on the other side, bipartisan and cross-party support for its implementation. I, along with my coalition colleagues, strongly support the Productivity Commission's recommendations towards providing a better deal for Australians with disability and their carers. And earlier this year, I pledged my support and got involved in the Every Australian Counts campaign, the national initiative designed to raise awareness and support for a disability system for all Australians. I've had a long association with people with disabilities. In my early teens, my father was confined to a wheelchair almost overnight. Luckily for him, with intensive rehabilitation and sheer determination, he was able to gain the use of both of his legs and gave away his wheelchair for the rest of his life, or so he says. In my early 20s, I was also involved, you'd be probably surprised to learn, Madam Deputy Speaker, that I was involved in the Miss Australia Awards, where I raised $30,000 for Carpentaria Disability Services. It's a program for the families of children and adults with disabilities and high support needs in the Northern Territory. It was through the awards that I became reacquainted with the pressures faced by loved ones and carers of people with disabilities. It was through this program that I met Geoffrey McCourt and Raymond Roach, both of who, along with their extended families, still today have a special role in my life. My husband Paul and I provided respite care for Geoffrey until his late teens, when he was too big for me to lift. Geoffrey was born with cerebral palsy. Now, I know that his parents were grateful to Paul and I, knowing that we cared for Geoffrey with all the love and care like he was our son. And caring for Geoffrey gave us great joy, and particularly our son, who thought that he had another brother. And but what it did was it actually gave us a real insight into what is an appreciation of caring for a person 24/7 with someone who has disabilities. And like many of my colleagues here, I am a campaigner for better support services, no matter how severe the level of disability. Tani Afamungo is someone that I have mentioned in this place before. She's another dear friend of mine. And Tani is a world swimming champion who continues to break records. And I understand she's the first person with Down syndrome to be included in an Institute of Sports program in Australia, and in actual fact around the world. Now, I admire Tani, Geoffrey and Ray, who are all in their own way hardworking, tenacious, determined and courageous people who've never allowed their disability to hold them back. Now, as raised in this place before, the Coalition is committed to delivering the NDIS, a program designed, as we've said, to provide people with a significant and permanent disability with support over their lifetime, regardless of how they acquired their disability. Earlier this year, the Leader of the Opposition, Tony Abbott, spoke at the National Press Club, reiterating that our NDIS will be a priority for a coalition government. We've pledged to work with the government, the Gillard government, to implement the recommendations as soon as possible, and only a bipartisanship will ensure that the NDIS proceeds smoothly. Now, movement on this issue, however, appears to have stalled, and sadly, the only funding Labor has committed to is $1 billion over 4 years, which is almost $3 billion less than what the Productivity Commission recommended over the same period. And in the lead up to the last budget, the Coalition called on the government to provide funding certainty. To this date, nothing has happened. To this end, the Coalition has proposed to establish a joint parliamentary committee chaired by both sides of politics to make it work. This is the only way, and it's the only way, and it's time that the Gillard government stopped playing politics with this issue. Our communities have spoken, and a clear message has been sent to all of us that we should provide proper support with people with disabilities and their carers. The Coalition will continue to place this issue above politics and will work towards a better deal for people with disabilities. It's time for the Gillard government to stop playing politics,
Order.
get serious,
question,
and get
the
this
honourable
issue
member's
sorted.
time has expired.